It's time once again for the O Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, CW. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube, like, subscribe, and tell a friend about this 10-minute wrestling show. Today, we're talking about the future for Sami Zayn. So, as we mentioned in our 5-count article, Kevin Owens is now on SmackDown, effectively removing Sami Zayn from his life once again. They are now singles wrestlers again. And Sami Zayn came out on Raw the next week and said, essentially, I lost my best friend. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I'm excited and I'm going to do everything I can to be a world heavyweight champion. He basically called his shot in so many words at Seth Rollins' title, which I can see him winning. And then they put him in sort of a makeshift feud with Drew, so he'll be wrestling Drew the next week on Raw. But in my mind, I was like, well, what could Sami do? Sami had a very meteoric rise when he was part of the Bloodline. He used up every ounce of TV time to make himself the most over babyface in the company at the time. I think there was nothing he could do that people didn't love. And the storyline between Sami Zayn and the Bloodline and the betrayals and the back and forth and ultimately him turning on Roman and then losing to Roman, I think people were like, well, they should have just pulled the trigger on Sami. I don't know. I'm not a booker. I don't know. But it would have been nice had he beat Roman Reigns, but they were obviously going for the longest reign, so they weren't going to do that for him. Instead, they gave him the main event slot with Kevin Owens when they took the undisputed tag titles from the Usos. Now, on the other side of that, maybe 8 months later, Sami Zayn's on his own once again, and the question is, what do you do with him, right? You have this stacked card on Raw, but for a babyface like Sami and the heights that he is capable of reaching, you kind of want to put him in a good position. So I sat here thinking to myself, what would be a great avenue for Sami? And I came up with what I think was a great storyline, and I decided I was going to share it. I don't know if this is going to be one episode. It might be two, because I was telling this very long-winded story to myself, and I was like, I should just hit record. So let me just see if I can retell it in the most epic way possible, given how tired I am. What do we have? 8 minutes? 7 minutes and change? All right. So Sami moves into a program with Gunther. Sami says, to establish myself as the top babyface in this company, I'm going to take out Gunther, the longest reigning intercontinental heavyweight champ. I don't know why they had the word heavyweight in there. Heavyweight champion of the world. I'm taking Gunther down. Gunther comes out, says, fine. Let's see how well you do. So they get into a match, and it's a back and forth. It's a crazy battle. They're trading blows. Sami's taking those crazy chops. Gunther's getting whittled down bit by ever-loving bit. Then we're close to the finish. Sami gets Gunther in the corner where he needs him to be. Runs to the other corner. The crowd is chanting, Sami, Sami, Sami. He's freaking out. Here comes the haluva kick. He sprints across the ring as fast as he can, lifts that leg. Bow! Catches Gunther. Gunther goes down. The crowd goes wild. The pop is enormous. Sami flips around, drops on top of Gunther. This is it. 1, 2. Giovanni Vinci picks up Gunther's lifeless hand, unbeknownst to the ref, and puts it on the bottom rope. Ref looks up, sees the hand. He gets a 2.5 count. 1, 2. Oh no! He's holding the ropes, barely hanging on. Sami goes, no. Starts punching him. Boom, boom, boom. Stay down. Drags him away from the rope. Drops down on his body again. The crowd starts counting for him. 1, 2. Oh, this time it's a closer 2 count. Sami picks him up. Just the hardest Irish whip you've ever seen in your life to get this big man in the corner. Boom. He sprints to the other end of the ring. The crowd's freaking out. He's going around. Another hell of a kick. He sprints at Gunther. Full speed. Lifts that leg. Gunther just breaks out. Has a second win. Grabs that leg. Grabs a single leg. just wraps his hand, puts his Sami's leg up on his shoulder, wraps his arm around the back of his head, and goes for the hardest powerbomb you've ever seen. Just boom! Catches a mid-hell of a kick, slams him to the mat. He's not done. He gets down, he picks up Sami's lifeless body and goes for another powerbomb, kaboom! Into the mat. I'm talking Sami's ragdolling at this point. He's clawing. He's trying to get away. Gunther's like, no, this is it. He's half dead. He picks him up. 3 powerbombs in a row. Kaboom! And then he drops down. 1, 2. Oh, Sami gets a hand up. Oh, my God. This is a back and forth. The crowd's freaking out. Fight forever. Clap, 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 clap. Fight forever. Gunther can't believe it. He's staring up at the lights. How am I going to get this guy down? Sami's he's almost lifeless. He had just enough energy to get that shoulder up. Just enough. So Gunther, mustering all the strength he possibly can, is standing up. Sami hops up with his second wind, kicks Gunther in the gut. He goes for some move, I don't know. And somehow, some way, Gunther reverses it into the hardest, the most scandalous sit-down powerbomb you've ever seen in any professional wrestling ring. Boom! I'm talking, they're both lifeless in the ring, but Gunther just so happens to be sitting up, holding him into that sit-down powerbomb, which is also a pin. 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. Gunther retains. Oh my God, Gunther retains. The crowd's booing him crazy. Sami's lifeless body in there. Oh my God, they cut to black. They put the little symbol on the corner saying trademark 2024 at this point, whatever. Goes to black. The next night on Raw, I don't know what pay-per-view that was, but the next night on Raw, Sami comes out beaten, bruised, limping. He's broken. Crowd's freaking out. Sami. He calls out Gunther. He goes, hey, Gunther, man, I had your number. You were done. And your friggin' goons, they kept that title around your waist. I want a rematch. And I want Imperium barred from the ring. And here comes Imperium. Gunther's walking behind them, just all beat up, disheveled in his long coat, holding the IC title triumphantly around his shoulder. And Vinci is, smug-faced, and of course Ludwig is doing his spiel. It's the ring General Gunther, and he does not, acquiesce to your request. Does anyone know what that reference is? And he's cutting his promo on him, and in the middle of Ludwig's promo, here comes Gunther, snatches the mic from him, and he says, Sami, of all the people I've wrestled, you got the closest, and you'll never get that close again. And I am instituting an intercontinental title tournament that you will not be a part of, and it will encompass all the strongest, all the best professional wrestlers in WWE. So pull up a seat on the sidelines and watch the real contenders play. That's not what he would say. That's a very Kevin Nash thing to say. But then Sami's like, he's like, why are you hiding behind Imperium? You know you lost and blah, blah, blah. And he says, it doesn't matter. And it's super obvious that Gunther knows that he didn't win honorably. And he can't look at Imperium, and he storms off, and they start this tournament. And that's where I'll stop for right now. I don't have much more time, but I will continue this on another episode. I got a long book for Sami Zayn and Gunther, which then leads into a really weird battle royale that I thought up. It's going to be great. But if you're interested and you want to hear the next part of the episode, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube. Thanks so much for listening once again. This has been the Wrestling Podcast, and don't you ever forget.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah.